Offenders need a moment in time to commit their crime, especially in public spaces. So time is an important variable in criminal behaviour. It's simple. An offender has to commit the crime and exit the scene without being caught, which means the longer the duration, the greater the risk to the offender. So, if you can delay the moment, deny the offender time to perform the crime, you may be able to buy your safety. Now this may seem far-fetched to a few, but keep watching the video as I'm going to show an example of when this strategy worked well. But before that, let me explain one important but relevant point. Frustration is an effective weapon for self-defense. Offenders have to act quickly to reduce their risk of exposure and prevent intervention or apprehension from law enforcement. Logically, if there is a sense of urgency to perform the crime, then delaying the temporal moment may frustrate the offender. Perhaps even force a non-committed offender to give up and seek an easier victim. But you should be aware that highly motivated, experienced offenders do have a different rational calculation. Putting that aside, whether it's a robbery, assault or kidnapping, time is a key factor in conducting the offence. This is why being taken to a secondary location is extremely dangerous. It allows the offender more time to act against you. So as in this example, you must never allow yourself to be taken away. 45 seconds and counting. This defender uses frustration as an effective weapon. More importantly, I want you to pay attention to the behaviours that indicate the offender was trying to reduce his own risk, his risk of exposure and intervention. You'll see his sense of urgency, but also pay attention to the simple but effective tactic the defender does to thwart the attack. Keep watching and I'll explain more. This encounter starts with a woman walking along. The offender runs up, grabs her from behind and drags her to the side of the road. Now here's your first cue. Pay attention to how he's looking around as he's dragging her away. He looks left, then right. This is an example of someone actively managing their exposure. Now, in order to gain control of her movement, he grabs her around the waist in a bear hug to lift her up. This is a good time to know how to grapple. Naturally, she does the right thing in struggling and dropping her weight. Unfortunately, this results in her dropping to the ground where he's able to consolidate a top position. In the struggle, he looks up to check for witnesses. This is another indicator of urgency. In this situation, it's always best to put your feet on your attacker's hips to make space, or even use them to upkick. You see, I often instruct when fighting defensively off your back that your job is to frustrate the attacker, force them to make mistakes, or even in this case, give up. And in that sense, she does an excellent job in keeping her left knee as a shield to prevent him from flattening her out. Not only has she delayed his attack, but denied control of her body. She's squirming enough underneath that he can't settle his weight on top of her. Combined with hand fighting, this appears to be enough to frustrate his attack. I'm not sure if he picks up her phone, but he runs away without fighting on. Now this event suggests that when an offender is acting in a time-sensitive manner, frustration may deter the uncommitted. In this case, I suspect he was an opportunist. She was in the wrong place at the wrong time. But before you go, there's one important observation here. He didn't try to strike her or beat resistance out of her. What was interesting was that he appeared to try to kiss her at one point. That aside, he was very aware of his exposure of being discovered. Remember, 45 seconds was all she needed to buy her safety. So the takeaway is that some criminal offences require time to perform. If you can delay the moment, you may be able to buy yourself some safety. Delaying the moment can be physical, as in this case. However, simply paying attention to your environment in order to prevent people getting close enough to you can make a difference. You've got to make a time deficit for the bad guy. Thanks for watching.